Hi, in this video I will review 7 AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam questions. I will teach you how to read exam questions in order to detect the main AWS services or sets of problems that a question is asking about. This will be a second video in this series. The link to the first one will be here on top right corner of the screen. You can check it out too if you want. But for now, let's start with the questions. Question number 1. I will read the question first and highlight the keywords, explain what the question means, and after that we'll go to the answers. An enterprise wants to understand how AWS affects budgeting. In their on-premises model, IT costs were fixed regardless of usage. In AWS, costs vary month to month based on actual usage. Which statement best describes this? Okay, and let's go through the answers. AWS increases predictability by locking in fixed IT costs. That is not correct. The main benefit of AWS, and actually of any cloud, is that the costs become variable when you switch from on-premises. It means that you pay exactly how much you use and you do not need to plan in advance how much workload you'll have a year ahead. And so that eliminates the fixed component of IT costs. The second one is correct. AWS shifts IT spending to a variable cost model. That is actually what I already explained. When we switch to cloud, we do not have fixed IT costs, instead we have variable ones, which vary depending on our usage. And third one, AWS forces companies to invest in more fixed infrastructure. That is not correct. AWS doesn't force companies to invest anything in infrastructure at all. AWS eliminates both fixed and variable costs. That is not correct. AWS eliminates fixed costs and introduces variable costs, and that is exactly the topic of the second answer, which is correct. And the next question, that is question number 2. A startup has variable traffic on its web app. To reduce costs, it chooses Amazon EC2 Spot instances for non-critical workloads. Which well-architected framework pillar is the company applying? What this question is asking is about well-architected framework. AWS Architected Framework is one of the 2 documents that the exam candidate is expected to read thoroughly and to know very well. The second document is Cloud Adoption Framework. And if we speak about well-architected, it's a collection of AWS best practices, and it is divided into a few sections. They're called here pillars: performance, efficiency, security, cost optimization, reliability. And what we need to know to answer this question correctly is also what is EC2 Spot instances. And the Spot instances, they can be cheaper up to 90-95% than the regular on-demand instances. But there's a reason for that. AWS sells them at a high discount because they cannot find currently any use for these instances, and the main drawback is that they can request these instances back. To correctly answer this question, we need to understand what the question is asking about. It actually mentions the correct answer already in the question: to reduce costs. And after that, we are asked about well-architected framework, and we need to know what pillars the well-architected framework consists of. And the correct answer here is cost optimization. On a real exam question, AWS can propose some of the options that actually don't have anything to do with the well-architected framework or anything. Those options are called distractors. They are supposed to distract the exam taker from the correct answer. Okay, let's go to the next one. Question number 3. A healthcare company is required to back up sensitive patient data daily. In the past, IT staff manually triggered backups, sometimes forgetting to run them, leading to compliance risks. After migrating to AWS, the company configures automated backup policies for its Amazon RDS databases. Which benefit of automation does this demonstrate? Okay, so we attested about our understanding of benefits of automation and what the employees of the healthcare company do. They manually trigger backups, and that brings some compliance risks. According to some compliance rules, they are expected to do backups, for example, daily, but they forget that. Automation helps mitigate that. So the option number 1 is correct here. Automation reduces operational risks and improve compliance consistency. Okay, the other 3 options are incorrect. Automation eliminates all IT costs, including storage fees. That doesn't improve the compliance. The next one is incorrect as well. Automation guarantees zero downtime for every workload. And number 4, automation replaces the need for disaster recovery planning. Disaster recovery planning can go hand in hand with automation, but not necessarily. They are the same thing, because disaster recovery scenarios can include some manual steps as well. So the correct answer is this one, number 1. The 4th question. A logistics company wants to quickly move its legacy applications from on-premises servers to AWS without redesigning them. Which migration strategy are they using? Refactor, replatform, rehost, and retire. This question tests our understanding of migration strategies. And AWS has migration strategies in their documentation. It is important to understand them because they can be met in other certification exams as well, in Architect Associate exam and Architect Professional, as well as DevOps Professional. You can see the documentation about the AWS migration strategies here on the screen, and it includes actually 7 strategies. They call it 7 R's: retire, retain, rehost, relocate, repurchase, replatform, refactor, re-architect. Retire option, for example, you have an application running on premises and you're choosing a migration strategies in order to efficiently migrate it to AWS. One of the options is to get rid of that application and not migrate it. For example, you can hire an external consultancy company that would do the same thing that the application did, or you could subscribe to a SaaS service, and that way you will not need that application at all. And it has a lot of options, and some of the migration strategies are very similar, but on the Certified Cloud Practitioner exam, you're expected to see only a few of them. So in our case, what we want to achieve here, we do not want to redesign our applications, and those are legacy applications from on-premises servers. And refactor means that we need to re-implement our applications, implement new ones, and then the new applications will be deployed to AWS. That is unacceptable, because the main requirement here that we do not want to redesign. Replatform is not suitable here for the same reason. So our solution here is rehost, lift, and shift. Okay, let's go to question number 5. A startup wants to build a layered security strategy on AWS. They plan to use guard duty for threat detection, inspector for vulnerability scanning, and shield for DDoS protection. However, they also need a service to provide a consolidated compliance and security overview. Which option is correct? Let's answer this question from the last question to the first one. Use Amazon Inspector to monitor compliance with AWS best practices. Amazon Inspector that scans EC2 instances, Lambda functions, ECR images, and finds vulnerabilities there. According to our requirements, we need to see all the data from other services there as well, right? Guard duty, inspector, and shield for DDoS protection. We need a dashboard, and Amazon Inspectors obviously is not that. Use Amazon CloudWatch to block suspicious activity across services automatically. That is not correct. First, we are not looking into blocking suspicious activity. We just want the dashboard to see analytics from different security services. And Amazon CloudWatch, at least in the type of sentence that describes this solution, doesn't provide that. Use AWS config to replace Guard Duty Inspector and Shield. AWS config tracks compliance of resources and doesn't let us view security-related analytics. So the first one is correct. Use AWS Security Hub to combine findings from Guard Duty, Inspector, and Shield into a single dashboard. Okay, next question. The security team wants to monitor if anyone uses the root user credentials to access the AWS Management Console. What is the best solution to detect such logins? First option is correct. Enable AWS CloudTrail to record sign-in events and configure alerts for root activity. Anytime you see a question on the exam that is asking about logging security events, that most likely AWS CloudTrail. CloudTrail records all management events, and when you sign in, it has a record of that as well. The other options are not correct. Disable CloudTrail logging since the root account is already trusted. Rely on AWS config to automatically block root access. And create an IAM policy denying root access globally. Basically, these three questions, they do not actually answer the question. Because, okay, the last question, number 7. A retail application stores data in Amazon DynamoDB, but experiences performance bottlenecks when retrieving frequently accessed product information. The team wants to add a read-through cache to accelerate queries without changing their existing application logic. Which option is correct? Amazon Elastic Cache for Redis, DynamoDB Accelerator DEX, Amazon RDS Read Replicas, Amazon Redshift Spectrum. Let's see what is important from the point of view of the question. The application has bottlenecks when retrieving frequently accessed product information. This implies that the database is throttling. The team wants to add a read-through cache to accelerate queries without changing their existing application logic. That is an important one. We want to add read-through cache, and we do not want to change the application logic. That is the most important. In case of Amazon Elastic Cache for Redis, if we add it, we cannot seamlessly add it to DynamoDB and to the application without changing the application code. We need to change the application as well. DynamoDB Accelerator, that integrates seamlessly in this flow. We just enable DynamoDB Accelerator and you do not need any changes on the application side. So that is the correct option. The next one, Amazon RDS Read Replicas. Amazon RDS Read Replicas are only supported in Amazon RDS, and we are talking about DynamoDB. And that's it. Let me know if this video was useful for you. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Bye.